know that the new Education Amendment Act of 2020 has clearly stated that government will provide free funded state education from ECD to O-level. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that every child who is not able to pay his or her fees must be supported by government. And as we speak, we're still seeing children being sent away from schools by school authorities because they have not paid for their fees. So that gap means government has to come in. We are aware that government has programs to support children who are vulnerable by way of the Basic Education Assistance Module, BEAM. Mm-hmm. But that budget is not enough.
All right. So I remember back in the day, even us as students, we used to get kicked out of class because we didn't pay for our fees. And the funny thing is that as students, we thought it's actually funny. It's fun. We would go play somewhere. But then I like the fact that you also mentioned that there are some steps that need to be taken to take care of that. I like that. So as the coalition, what activities do you have planned for us for this theme?
This is a great year for us because we're taking stock on what has been happening since 2010. It's approximately 15 years later. Mm-hmm. To say what have we done in terms of having the voice of the children and the budget processes. As you are aware, each and every year there's a budget consultation which takes place from October until December. And in June, there's the budget strategy paper which is produced to say, in the following way, what do we want to see? So as a coalition, we're going to have a number of forums. We're going to have the media engagement to raise awareness. We're going to bring learners in the different spaces so that they share their issues and especially ponder on their recommendation on how they feel in terms of the budget processes, the planning, and what they have benefited in the past years. And we're also going to have work closely with our members. For example, World Vision will be having a 1-week engagement in Mazoe, whereby they are talking about the importance of budgeting. What has the junior parliamentarians benefited from the partners' work? We are also going further to have a commemoration working in partnership with the Ministry of Youth after the inauguration, after the 20th of June this year. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to have a mega commemoration in Wedza, where we call upon all players to be on board as we celebrate the milestones. We're going to have the interface with the parliamentarians to say your role, especially the Child Rights Caucus, is to ensure that children are safe and we adhere to the AU commitments which the nation has committed to do. What have we said? These are the strides. Rev mentioned the issue of saying we have the beam. Mm-hmm. How progressive is it? How do we need to improve? As we are having the budget consultation, how is the voice of the learners being included? We are also talking of the school financing policy, which would then benefit the children of Zimbabwe. Where is the voice of these children? So as a coalition, we're going to be using different spaces to harness the voice of the children. Follow us on our Facebook pages, on Twitter, and we really want the feedback from the learners in terms of how they feel in terms of the budgeting. As you rightly questioned to say, is there a specific budget aligned for the children? So at the end of the commemorations, we want to come out with a communique, our statement as Zimbabwean students, as Zimbabwean learners, as Zimbabwean children, to say this is our key ask to the government, and this can only be attained through the junior members of parliament. To say, as they do their consultations after the elections, they need to come up with a position which they are going to hand over to the HE of Zimbabwe.
All right. So what are your recommendations to the community, to the government, and to the stakeholders to ensure more allocation to the children?
What is important is that Parliament is an important institution in terms of getting the executive to commit itself to increase budgets for children. But the Parliament requires evidence, and the role of civil society is to collect that evidence, present it to the to Parliament. So part of the work that we're going to do is to progressively look at the budget from 2010 up to 2024. How has it been increasing, or it has remained static? If it is not enough, what is the best way of going forward? Because it has to increase in terms of funding. But that evidence, when collected, there's a parliamentary caucus on children's rights that is in place. That's where we'll try and present this evidence, because those are the people who are able to engage the executive, the Minister of Education, the Minister of Finance, to say, may you increase budgets for children. We don't want any child to be at home. All children are supposed to be in school.
All right. Yes, I like that. All children should be in school. So how do you promote sustainable planning and budgeting for the children?
This is the aspect of sustainability is in the long run.
Okay.
What we advocate for is firstly strengthen the whole of government approach and be able to come up with the robust and clear monitoring, because there's a difference between allocation, disbursement and utilization when we're looking at the budget processes.
Okay.
Because in as much as we may make a lot of noise to say we need the budget allocation for the children,